Good morning, everybody. So today's show, we have an exercise for everyone to do. So um, what I want to ask everyone today is to think about an identity change. We went over this yesterday. So I want everyone to define how many listings you want to do each week. Let's do each week. And you can break it down to each day. So for me, personally, I want to list and sell 1,000 items per week. So as an identity, this is the second part of it. So anyone can make a goal, right? That's the easy part. The hard part is we need to have reasons why we have that identity. So let me give you guys an example. I want to list and sell 1,000 items a week. Let's see, let me back up for a second. Let's do identity. So I list 1,000 items a week. Now, this is the second part, because what are your reasons, right? Or if you're carrying a lot of invisible load that prevents you from doing that, I want you guys to help me with the invisible load part. Why can't you list however many items you want per week? And I'm just going to set a baseline standard of 100 items a week for everybody, so you can adjust accordingly. So why can you or why can you not list 1,000 items a week? So for me, I have been sourcing over 1,000 items a week for almost 2 years. So I already have the sourcing part. That part was already done. So also, my salary in my corporation is $2 per item. So Daily Refinement Inc., I actually work for my own company. And my job is to list 50,000 items a year, which is 1,000 a week, 2 weeks vacation. So I have the person that's in place that's supposed to do that. That's me. I have the supply. I know how to do it, right? So I need to be able to list Monday through Friday. Since I don't work the weekends, I need to do 200 Monday through Friday. So I've already set that schedule. I have an exact time of day that I do it, which is between 11 and 2 p.m. is when I set that all up. To give you guys an idea of the breakdown of responsibilities, essentially what we do is we ship, we photograph, and we list. Those are the three things that everybody does. So for me, I don't photograph and I don't ship anymore, but I still do listing. And I think that's the key. The people who don't do the listing part, they don't learn what to source. And if you don't do the shipping in the beginning, you don't know what things sell for. So you have to have a good idea of what it sells for. More reasons why I can do 1,000 a week. My family's completely on board. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. So we need to get as many reasons as we can why we can do our identity. That's important. Whatever's holding you back, this is what could potentially stop me. I'm trying to get a tenant, so I may have to stop my listing and go meet and interview somebody. There's like a lot of rules where I live in California, so a lot of research to figure out how to do it properly, provide the right protections for both person I'm giving it to and myself. I also have a toddler. So if something comes up with her, if she's sick, no listing. I got to go get her, spend time with her. That's just part of the gig. I signed up for that. So I think you need to have set times to do eBay so that you can guarantee yourself success. And you need to have tens, hundreds, thousands of reasons why you can do it. And if you can't do it, it's important to talk about why you can't. That way we can all figure out if we're dealing with the same issues, or why can some people do it and some people can't? Why are there people with multiple kids and a full-time income? I know it's a lot of pressure, but what are they able to do? What are the best practices that they can do that can add it in? Because a fully operational e-commerce business on eBay should take less than 3 hours a day. Not the sourcing part, just the processing part. So That's not saying you can't hang out with your family. That's not saying that. 3 hours should be enough time for you to get your family in. Actually, more time than your family even wants to see you, to be honest. So, I mean, 8 hours of family time is a lot. That plus sleep and taking care of yourself. I feel like that's everything. So, Catherine, Catherine wants to list 280 a week. That's 40 a day, 40 or 50 a day. Catherine, what helps you achieve that and what makes it harder for you to achieve that? I don't know if you can chat.
I can chat. Yeah.
What's up?
So, what makes that hard for me is that I just do way too much research. I've pulled a lot of items from my store that are items that just aren't going to sell, or, they were from when I first started and they're just not moving. I've done sales. But I have some items that are older items, like a Harley Davidson t-shirt um, or I don't know how to pronounce this designer, Ermenegildo Zegna or shirt. Michael Kors. I've got some good items, but I I spend way too much time researching prices because I, I get stuck in my head with looking up what everybody else sold their item for, and should I price it just below that? Should I price it just above that because I'm promoting and running a sale? Should I price it at market value? If I price it below it, I just get this convoluted conversation going in my head about what to price an item at to make it move. So my sell-through rate currently is not a good sell-through rate. I want to get items out a lot faster, but I need help figuring out how to not get stuck on the pricing.
Okay, this is great. So, sell through or research is a big chunk of it. So, I would say we'll start with the research part. Familiarity is obviously huge. If you've already listed the item or you're an expert in that category, then you have an idea of what to list it at. Today, I'm going to make a video on the Jen method, which is like what she did to improve her sell-through rate. It's just 3 steps for her. And then I want to remind everyone that the tech and sports method is like 100 steps. So if you want all of the sales, fastest sell-through rate, number one in your category, then you have to use every single tool that eBay gives you. All 10 different promotions. You have to list every day. You have to do everything. But you can get, in your situation, Catherine, if you just want to improve your sell-through rate a little bit and move slower moving items from the beginning, I recommend the Gen method, which is more straightforward, which is marking down your items manually, plus a markdown sale, plus coupons, plus increasing your promoted listings. So unfortunately, all 4 of those things come out of your bottom line, but they will move items. If you do all 4 of those things, the Gen method, and you don't sell your item, it's time to donate it.
So you were
That should
talking
work.
about, yeah, you were talking about that yesterday, and I thought, okay, well, I have a sale going right now, so and that ends tomorrow. So after tomorrow, like for the weekend, I'll do the Gen method,
Let's do it.
and
And if
so I'll
you
do that, and then, but then I also want something.
wait, just for the weekend,
Well, I don't know how long she did it.
I want you to do it till the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Um,
want people like don't do something for a weekend. That's like eating one salad. It doesn't
okay.
do anything. You don't get in shape from eating one salad. You have to do it for a while.
Okay. So I'll do it to the
Okay.
end of the month.
Yep.
Then long term, what should
Okay.
I be doing to not get stuck on the pricing?
Okay. Definitely number one, narrow the scope of what you sell. Right. So the less items, less categories you sell, and the easier. Then you can come up with an algorithm for yourself for how you research. So let's say a lot of people do a simple high to low search. What is the most expensive this has sold for, right? Then they do a low to high. What is the lowest this has sold for, right? Then they do most recent. What is the most recent one sold for? Okay, that's 3 data points. Highest, lowest, most recent. Then you could do what is currently selling, right? So you look at the market, you go, okay, you search lowest, because I don't think you need to search highest for what's currently for sale, because that's not useful. So you look at the lowest somebody is offering for that item. So now we have 4 data points. Then you look at the most recently one listed, right? This is teaching you to think like the buyer. So that's 5 things. If you do those 5 things in order, it'll still only take 5 minutes at the longest. And that is still, I'm sure, faster than the way that you're doing it. You're just not sure of which steps to do.
Right. I
Yeah.
I want to make sure I price it and still make a profit.
So
Even if I
that
do the
part,
gen method.
pricing it where you still make a profit, happens when you buy it.
Right. And I've gotten better at when I go out to thrift, I'm a lot pickier about what I choose to make sure that my items are going to make a better profit. Instead of just anything that would make a profit. I don't want $1 or $2 or $5 profit. I want $8, $10, $15 profit.
And that has to do with when you buy the items.
Right.
So
Gotten
you
better at
have
that.
to go ahead.
Being pickier about what I choose when I'm
Well,
thrifting.
I have good news for you.
Mhm.
If you want 8, 10, 12, $15 profit on the front end, then I have really, really good news. Your listing is going to be really fast because you already know the price before you start listing.
That's true. That's true.
So that really saves you a ton of time. That means when you're out in the wild looking, do the same thing, which is the 5 steps, which I'm going to put in the chat, which is lowest price. Wait, check sold. Lowest price sold, highest price sold, most recent sold, most recent listed, and lowest price listed active. So there's 2 sections. You're going to look in the sold and then look in the active. It's going to take you hopefully 2 minutes maximum with some practice, 5 minutes maximum, and then just get an idea. So like if the highest it's sold for is 100 and the lowest it's sold for is 30, right? There's that big of a difference. Since I'm getting more and more conservative as I get older. I would pick the highest it's sold for is 100, the lowest it's sold for is 30. I'm going to expect $24 for this. So if I want to make a $12 profit, then I got to buy this at 7.
So you're going to always go under.
That's how I would, way under, because I want to be able to discount my item and still move it. I'm not interested in waiting 6 years for it to sell for 100.
And is that the price you would put it at before your promotions?
I'd probably do, let's see, what price do you, am I hypothetically trying to get? How much profit?
Let's say $15 profit.
Okay. So this is a bit challenging, but if we want to go a $15 profit, I would look for roughly maybe a $30 differential between what I pay for it and what it sells for. Okay, because that's very aggressive. $15 profit is like selling something for $30 plus shipping and paying $5 for it to safely do that. So I would go, and for a beginner, we're talking about maybe 1 item a day. If you go sourcing, you don't have a big enough Rolodex to know what would make a $15 profit. So it would probably take you 4 or 5 hours just to find one of these items. But I would look for consistent solds between 35 and above. So the lowest would need to be like 30, I guess, would be the lowest.
Because of your promotions.
No. I'm saying the lowest somebody has sold it for.
Oh, okay.
Is 30. So let's say that on average it sells for 40. Someone has sold it for 30 before. So now I want to get to the $15 promoted listings. And $15, you're looking at it the wrong way. You're looking at it as how much money you want to make versus the value of the item. But anyway, let's find something that's worth $40. So
Okay.
to get $30 for it, what I would do is, since I have a coupon and I have offer to watcher, and my coupon is similar to my offer to watcher, I'd probably do 37 to $42 for the, I'm sorry, I'd probably do 37 to 39.99 as the
Base price.
base price. I would do a 20% coupon. So that would make it $33.99 if it was priced at $39.99. So that gives me $4 more of threshold. Now, here's the thing. If the minimum I would accept is $15 profit, then I would remove best offer. I would just price it at like $37 with the 20% off coupon, no best offer. If I'm not willing to accept less than $15 profit, why even have best offer?
Right.
So I would turn off best offer so that I don't have to stress out. There would be no offers. So then if it normally sells for 40 and I have it priced at 30, it'll just sell. Now I can just move on to the next item and not worry about this one.
And then you would do the coupon and you would do promoted listings.
I would do 20% off, and I probably wouldn't do promoted listings at all. If it was normally selling for 40, at 30, I wouldn't. Promoted listings is more advanced. It's more for like most people in the group and listening on YouTube right now don't need promoted listings. Promoted listings is really an advanced feature for people who are in very competitive categories. If you're selling something where there's a million of the same thing and the average sale price is 12, then maybe promoted listings is really important because there's so many of the same thing. Something that sells for 40, if you have a price at 30, you don't need promoted listings.
Okay.
But okay, let's say you wanted to throw in 10%. Then you don't get the price at 10% higher.
Right.
Now, instead of making $15 profit, you make 13. You don't get the price at 10% higher and then mark it down. That's not how it works. Promoted listings, the gen method comes right out of your pocket. You ready for the gen method, Catherine?
Yeah. It's
Okay,
everything.
so Chris Tech method, you're at $37.99 or $39.99 or $49.99, right? And you mark it down and you just wait. Gen method, you don't want to wait. So $37.98, you mark it down to $24.99. Okay. You add in 10% promoted listings. You run a 20% off sale. You have a 20% off coupon. After all dust settles, you make a $4 or $5 profit.
Yikes.
No, but that's fast sales.
Yes.
And that's still 90% better than most resellers who never sell anything. So you got to go, if you want to use promoted listings and you want to play the gen method, you got to have ridiculous margins or it doesn't work. You
Right.
can't do that because it's like a going out of business sale every day. And going out of business sale means everything is for sale. Any offer accepted. If you have a pulse, you take it all. That's like not a healthy way to do business because it's so desperate.
And should I be doing that gen method then? Like if I'm going to do that to the end of the month, am I doing it on every single item, even the newly listed ones that I'm better at? Or
I would, because I want to turbocharge my sales. Fast sell through rate you can fix. Like, oh, I ran out of things to sell. That's okay because you've got a little bit of money in your pocket to go try to buy better items. So okay, so we've got two methods here. We have the what I'm recommending, which is $30 ASP. Okay, that's not always doable for some people, right? So they want to start a little bit lower. It's okay if you want to start with a lower ASP. It just takes longer to be successful. So if you want to take the scenic route, start with a lower ASP, and you have to really know your niche because selling in the $15 category is way more competitive. This is why it's a bit confusing because Linda in the group, her ASP is like $15 and she makes a full-time living, but that's because she's an expert in her niche. So in that $15 category where there's a bajillion listings, hers are the best and she has the best stuff and the best selection. So she can still sell items. But you just got to be careful. If you want to pick a lower ASP, you need more skill.
right.
That's the part that people, and a lot of people have a lot of skill. They have a good eye, but the gen method is very expensive and it's designed to increase your velocity. So I'm a big fan of increasing your velocity, which is selling items to get them out of your store. Now that tomorrow, or maybe I already released it, there's a sell-through rate video that goes over the two ways to improve sell-through rate: decrease your inventory or sell things faster. When you do the gen method, both of those happen. Your inventory shrinks because lots of your stuff sells, and your stuff sells faster. It's just you have to be okay with the margin. But here's the thing, Catherine, I promise you, if you listed 40 a day and you had a minimum profit of $4, you wouldn't be mad.
Okay.
You wouldn't be mad. You'd be making, on a bad day, you'd make $160.
Yeah, I've got to get that. I've got to get my listing faster. Not do as much research.
But you have to do the research on the front part.
Yes.
The value of increasing your velocity if your profit is lower than it would be if you sold the items for full price?
Oh my God, you ready, Isaiah?
Yeah.
So the main benefit is cash flow. You always have money.
Well, you'd have cash flow, but you wouldn't have any actual money because you'd have to go spend it back on inventory.
Okay, not a lot of cash flow, but
Yeah.
at least you have money. If you have a bunch of overpriced items that don't sell, you don't have anything.
That's true too. But
You
like,
can't. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's say that you buy two items, right? And you only make enough money to buy your two items again,
mhm.
right? That's kind of like a waste of time. Damn, I went out, I bought two items, I sold them, I only have enough money for two items again. So that doesn't work long term, but that's way better than listing two items and you didn't sell any. So best case scenario, you sold two, you made enough money to buy three or four or five, right?
Mhm.
Next best case scenario is you sold two, you can buy two again, you live another day. The worst is list two, sell one. You'll never.
There's like a lever in which if you go too far in the like cutting your profit direction, then like you would have been more profitable just by selling fewer items at the higher price. Like if you average 5 sales a day at $10 profit, then like it could be better to sell, it'd be better to sell 10 items a day at $7 profit because you'd make more money, right? However, if you sold 10 items a day at $3 profit, then you're making less profit than you would have otherwise at the $5. 5 items at $10 profit margin. So like if you go too far, you end up being the person who I was making $50 a day. Now I'm making $30 a day despite selling twice as many items. So like, how do you avoid that? It's kind of my question.
I don't know anyone in the group that has that problem. That's like impossible. If you sell too many items, you think to yourself, oh, wow, I'm pricing these too low, or maybe I need to increase my price a bit. Or does anybody sell too many items? Your inventory is shrinking each day and you're not making enough profit. I don't know, like, who is doing that? That's never the problem. The problem is always the price is too high. People are expecting a $15 profit. They think I want to maintain my $15 profit, so I'm going to increase my price 20% and do 20% promoted listings. That's the same deal. That's actually a worse deal for the customer. How do you increase your sales? By giving a worse deal to your customer?
Well,
That doesn't make sense.
That's the same issue, just on the other side, in which you're selling nothing now. So like,
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
it's totally okay to sell things for too cheap. It's not okay to sell things for too much, ever. It doesn't work. If we increase the price of this group to $500 a month, game over. No one would join. It's too expensive. It's too hard. Like, it's not a reasonable price for this group. You have to price aggressively. If we price this group at $1 a month, we wouldn't be able to handle all the customer service. It's too cheap. So you need to find a balance between how long it takes you to do the work. This group only works because Tech can answer 6,000 questions a day. It's impossible to do it without him. Because the systems that he has to answer, it's simple, but it's still hard. But yeah, I don't. How many people are having the issue of them selling items too fast? We'll go to Andrew first.
I was having this conversation the other day with Tice, and we were talking about doing sales. I usually do the tech method, and anything that's over 60 days, I do a markdown sale. Anyway, I readjust everything at the beginning of the month. Well, I had it end like 2 days early, and I started selling stuff that I had 40% off at full price. And I was saying, if you have a small store, like let's say you only list 10 items a day and you're at Nirvana, do you need, does eBay just going to give you the traffic for 10 sales a day where you don't need to do any sales and markdowns? So like I was, I'm doing an experiment now with no coupon now, no sale, no markdown. And I'm still having, I know it's a short period of time to test, but I'm still having the same amount of sales as I would normally. I
I
know this is like, I know this is way
no,
too squirrel brained, and I know it's
no,
like
it's not too
wrong.
squirrel brain. I like this. You don't need every like the markdown, the promotion, all that stuff is extra.
Right,
It's not how you make a sale. How you make a sale is what Andrew is doing. You price it at a fair price and have a good deal and reasonable shipping. You don't need any. People spend 90% of their time focused. Like Catherine, I could just say, Catherine, don't use any promotions. Guess what? Good luck. Good news for you. You don't have to worry about any of this anymore. No more promoted listings. No more coupon. No more markdown. None of that. All you have to do is just price it at an item that somebody will buy it. No more worrying about all the stuff that is only extra.
right. I
Like
think that only comes in when you have, when you're starting to get too much inventory and your storage gets too, too cluttered, where you need to start really getting rid of stuff just to clear it out and to create cash flow. But if you're only listing 10 or 20 a day and you're selling around, 10 to 20 a day, I don't think you need any of the markdowns, any of the promoted. I don't think you need any of it. So,
you are right. When I did the Reseller Nirvana store, the first maybe 6 weeks, I didn't use best offer. I didn't use any promoted listing. I didn't even qualify for promoted listings because my account was too new. I didn't get my money because they hold your money in the beginning.
right. And so,
So
like Isaiah was saying, like, why would you give away so much of your profit? Like, why, I see people give away
I
50%
know
markdowns.
why. I know
Right,
exactly why. They're in a hurry.
right,
If you wanna sell a phone that's worth $400 for $100, you can get cash right now. People want cash right now. They don't want to wait for a higher amount. So if you want cash right now, the right now system is the gen method.
right. And right now, I mean, in waiting for a higher amount doesn't mean waiting for all the money. It just means waiting for the correct amount.
Yeah, that's why I think that if we simplify it all down to don't use any promotions whatsoever, price it at an item, lower your price every 45 days. That's it until it sells. You don't need any other method. Just if you just do it right the first time and then list it, I'm sorry, reduce the price over time, it'll sell. You don't have to do anything fancy. And you're right, Andrew. This is like the alternative is the waiting for all the money. How long do you wait? And unfortunately, there's not a sales rank for the seller. eBay has a sales rank on the inside, like Amazon. So, like an iPhone is ranked 10,000, and a used sweater is ranked 10 million. So obviously, you're going to have a faster sell-through rate iPhone versus used sweater, right? So our job is to figure out where we want to play in the sales rank. If you want to play in the millions sales rank, like there's a lot of people competing with you and it's not popular, then you need to use all the tricks in the book. But if I don't recommend that for beginners, because I wouldn't throw you to the wolves when you first start. I would say, go. You're a human. Why don't your first thing that you are trying to defeat is a grasshopper? Okay, you're 10 easy battle. Why would you choose the most competitive, cutthroat, flooded market to start? That's too hard. I would never enter in something like that because it's just like a suicide mission going in with a generic product. David says that he can't keep items in stock at the lowest price. That's a good thing. That's a really good insight. If you're the cheapest price and it's always selling, that's not like a terrible place to be, but it's you can work with that. You can still use your money to buy another item again. It's just that people underestimate how long this takes. It takes a couple years to get to the point where you have there's no way to build this in 90 days. I've never seen it. Like well, I did it in 74 days, not including the 10 years before it took me to set up all the supply. Seth, what's up?
Hey, Chris. Yeah, I was just gonna mention that like Monday, Tuesday, I turned off my sales and my coupons. I usually run them like solid all the way through, like just changing them up daily, like tech does. So Monday was decent and items were selling at full price. So it was a decent day. I think I only sold 13, but they were going for full price. So it still made it a decent day. My average is 25 a day during the summer. And then yesterday, it took a nosedive and I only sold 4, I think maybe 5 items. So this morning, and I was just doing this just to see what would happen because you guys were talking about this. And then, so today I'm doing the gin method. I did newsletters, which I just barely started those last week because I seen in a podcast that you guys were talking about those. So I started diving into those, seeing how those work, and did a sale coupons today. So I'll let you know how it goes. I've already made 3 sales this morning because of it. So and then also I'm on my older listings, I'm like taking one tote and what I'm doing is I'm fixing the title, the pricing, shipping policy, but I'm not changing the pictures. And I'm delisting and relisting it, but changing all those items except for the pictures. See how that goes.
That post in the group said that, or I mean, essentially illustrated that you get 20% of the traffic when you do delist, relist versus a fresh item. So this is good to remember for me because it's not that delist, relist doesn't work. It just works at only 20% of the effectiveness of a brand new, fresh, good item. So
yeah, it definitely works, but it's not worth like, because I did it like last year. I delisted and relisted a lot of items because I listened to another guy on the podcast. I'm sure you know who he is, but I did that to a lot of items in my store and it messed up. You know how like when you mess up like your SKU number and you can actually like find it like based on date and it messes that system up for sure. So I didn't like that. So I quit doing that. So now if I do the delist, relist, I make sure I check the SKU number too as well.
yeah, this is I'll go to Beth first. Beth, what's up?
Hey, people always say, how do I increase my sell-through rate?
Yep.
Right. And so the easy answer is, well, you just get rid of the things in your store that don't sell. And then everything else is going to sell faster.
That's the easy answer, yes.
But that's not really the answer to the question that they're asking, is it?
It is. Sell-through rate
Are
goes
you
up.
sure?
Yes, if you combine.
No.
Go
I
Yeah.
mean, I know that that makes sense. That'll move the number. But my question is, aren't people really saying, how do I make more money?
Th- That's
And
what
yes,
that's true.
what they're
That's what they're
asking.
really, that's what Isaiah is asking.
Right.
How do I make more money?
Mhm.
People say, how do I sell my items faster?
Right.
When they really mean, how do I make more money?
Right, because you
Right.
answer it every time the same way. And it's true. What you're telling is the answer to a mathematical question.
Yeah.
But what really people want to know is, like, how do I,
They don't like the answer though.
right, like they want to know, how do I make the items that I have sell faster? And let's assume that we have in our store 100 items that when you go in and you check comps on eBay, it says there's 100 listed and in the past 90 days, 100 of them sold. So
ready
how
for
do
this?
I make my item sell like really fast?
Yeah.
That to me is like when someone says, how do I increase my sell-through rate? That may be more what they are asking. So then the question comes back to, are you buying the right things? Right? Are
Yeah.
your items, is your title correct? Are you pricing it correctly? Are your pictures good? You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Nobody wants to hear that though, Beth.
but so you're answering a question, but it's like,
No, we every single day
I know that
I give
your
the
answer is
answer. Nobody
exactly
wants
the
the
right
answer.
answer. But then,
Nobody
so
wants
then
the answer.
when that begs, then the question is, I don't know, like,
Okay, so here's what
get
I
all the
can
crap
say.
out of your store, don't sell crap,
So,
because
so
nobody
somebody
wants to
says like, how do I lose weight? Right. And you can say,
stop
eat
eating.
less, exercise more. Right. And they're like, no, 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 no. Different answer, please. So I'm like, how about a laxative? Right. How about extreme dehydration? Oh, that sounds awesome. That's not really solving the problem though. Right. And you're not going to look different. You might, because that's what people really want. They want to look different.
Right.
Looking
So,
different, being a profitable business. That podcast that we do where it's called advanced eBay, where you sell one item, make profit to buy two items, that snowballs. There's the problem is when people they try to shortcut the system and it slows down. Like what initially happens, and everyone does this, they add their own money. That's why this doesn't work.
mhm.
When
Because
you add in your own money, you get lazy and then you don't understand the full cycle.
right.
That's the problem.
Because my
Like,
question, what I would say is, if you ask me, Beth, how do I increase my sell-through rate? And my question, I'm going to be like a teacher and say, Chris, what are you trying to achieve?
right.
Are you trying to achieve a statistic, or are you trying to put more money in your pocket? Because if you ignore all that just stuff in your store that's not selling and just focus on what you have right here and list, that's
Yeah.
how you're going to make more money. And when you have gotten your system so in place that
Yeah.
you can list like this, then let's worry about the crap that's not selling. But don't focus on that, because if you want to make money, that stuff that's not selling isn't going to make you a dime no matter what you do. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
that's
could move
like,
a metric though and still not make money.
I love the fitness analogy because trainers will say you can't out train a poor diet, right? It's impossible. Somebody overeats, you can't out train it. So the reason why I bring that up is you can't outsell a poor buying habit. You can't outsell a poor buying habit. That's all there is to it. As long as you are buying, Isaiah, the problem with what you're talking about before is overbuying. That's what causes that. If you buy one item and you get enough money to buy two items, that's exponential growth. It's the buying stuff that's questionable, that doesn't sell. That's the problem. That's why people need to take their time in the beginning. And Scott,
there's various like pieces to it, like, I mean, I was reviewing a store yesterday, and like the issue that person was running into was their pricing was inconsistent. And they didn't have a strong enough grasp on which keywords to utilize on the shoes and stuff like that, right? So like that's what was weighing them down. So it's dependent, of course. But like, yeah, I just don't want people to go like, yeah, I'm gonna blow out all my inventory as soon as possible, but like they don't realize they're making $2 profit per item, and then like they can't
how
even
do
buy
you
none of
blow
that.
it out and not realize that?
Oh, that's easy, dude.
No, like,
You see $7, $8, $9 on your stuff, and you're like, all right, cool. At least I'm selling more items. I'm gonna close my eyes and just I have more cash flow than ever. But like, but like,
okay, I guess if you close your eyes and do eBay, then can you please unsubscribe?
but I mean, it's a thing
Let's
though.
not
Like,
do
but
that.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Look at it this way, right? Like, let's say on average you're making $100 a week, and then
Yeah.
you do this method, and like next week or this week even, you make $300. You're
Yeah.
like, oh man, let's go. Like this is working. This is working. But
Yep.
like, you don't know that $300 is actually built from not being profitable. Like $300 is in your bank account, but it's not profit in your bank account. Because now you got to go spend that on inventory, and you're not in a much better position now than you were beforehand.
We're gonna
It
go to
just looks
Tice.
like you are.
We're gonna go to Tice and then I'll address that. Tice, what's up?
So kind of going back to the comment you made earlier that people just want the sales like really fast because comparing to your like your small eBay store, because I feel like, and this has kind of been a topic of conversation here or there in this 24-hour room, is people are under the impression that because you are so successful in your small store that they can just do the exact same thing right away in the snap of a finger. But what they did not see, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of jaded, is that, like you mentioned earlier, when you started that, you came into it with 10 years of experience. So,
well, this is the thing that the people who are doing it and frustrated aren't doing the same thing as me. Because if you did the same thing as me, you would have the same results. It's that they're doing it as fast as me, but they're skipping the stuff that I did. Like, okay, this is really good. And I want to address this with Isaiah because of the model to begin with. Okay, so there's a person in this group that said, I'm going to sell my items for $20, right? And my buy cost is $7, and I'm going to sell it for $20. And then at the end, when it settles, I'm going to make $5. So $20, including shipping, $7 is my cost. But when you look at his sales, items are not selling for $20. They're selling for $7. Okay, so after all said and done, he's losing $2 or $3 per sale. Actually, it's $3 per sale minimum. So he's losing $3 every single sale. So his solution was, I'm going to list twice as many items. Okay, so now you're just turbocharging how fast you lose $3. You're losing $3 hundreds of times a day instead of just a few times a day, because the initial model is wrong. Every single item has a different model. So if you sell the book Baby Wise, right, and you got it for free, that's different than if you buy a sweater for $5 at Goodwill versus if you buy a pair of jeans for $11. If you buy a jacket for $18.99, all of these have different models. There's no cut and paste. The reason why no one replicated the model that I did in the beginning was because every single one of my items is priced individually. I didn't use a bulk markup. What people are doing when they copy me is they say, okay, I'm going to mark this one up $10. I'm going to mark this one up $10. I'm going to mark this one up $10. When one, you can only mark up 10 cents because it's too competitive. One, you should have marked up $30 because it's way too rare. Like I sold a gimbal, right? A gimbal is, there's not very many of them and they sell really well, but the margin's low. So I sold it at like 1 penny below the market. I sold an iPhone in the example. It was only $1 cheaper than the cheapest thing, but I sold a pair of LeBrons for $50 under market because it's not a fast mover. The one that I had was not that popular. And the soccer ball that I had was the last item that I sold. And the market was $24.99. I had to sell it for $18 free shipping because the market is not strong enough to hold. There's not enough people looking for this soccer ball to sell for $24.99, even though it's the cheapest. This is why I looked at this guy sent me this report. He's like, you know what? Somebody told me Eileen Fisher is a great brand for women. So I only sold Eileen Fisher. And he gave me this breakdown. Eileen Fisher small, he sells for like $11 free shipping. Eileen Fisher extra large, he sells for $40 plus shipping. Same exact item, totally different market, one free shipping, one plus shipping. Same item, because it's just different. If you try to copy me and every single item has the same pricing structure, you'll 100% fail. That's not what I did. I took my time, every single item. I researched soccer balls. I don't know anything about soccer balls. I looked at it and said, you know what? I'm going to price this below market. There's only 2 or 3 like this one. I wasted time figuring out how to pump up a soccer ball. I even thought about deflating the soccer ball so it would fit in a padded flat rate, because it doesn't fit. So it ended up being, I can't remember if the soccer ball I should priority or first class or not, but it was like right on the cusp of, I was thinking about deflating it, but then I'm like, I can't really deflate it because I'm new and I can't really get a negative feedback. So like, I don't want a person to buy it, like the picture's inflated and when they get it, it's deflated. So it's like, they're not copying me. That's what's so frustrating. When people copy text listings and they don't do the pricing part and they don't do the research part, it doesn't work. There's so many copycats of his store that just fail. They don't have to sell anything because they're not taking their time. So you have to go back and individually price every item, and you have to start with a profitable model. So the person that's selling $7 items for $7, that's already doomed from the beginning. You have to pick different items or you have to pay less. So if he was paying 10 cents per item, then go for it. You're making 30 cents per sale, but 30 cents every time. Okay, now let's do it. Let's list thousands of items a day because you're profitable. But if you need $20 to make your profit and you're selling it for $7, you got to pick a different item. So what essentially that is telling me is it's lazy on 2 parts. It's lazy on the buying and it's lazy on the sorting. You should have never listed an item that sells for $7 if your cost is $7. You have to do something different with that. You have to bulk, you have to lot it up. You have to do something to get it to sell. So like, yeah, they're not copying me. They're just copying how fast I do it.
Well,
That's why, like, go ahead, Landon.
I think what it is they wanted to copy you, but the difference is when you ran the experiment, you were already financially set. I think
that's not related either.
I don't think it's a good reason, but it's like they feel they might have been actually following you to start their store, and they're trying to actually pay bills to where you could kind of like, look, not rush it and like let the proceed, kind of let it organically grow to where when people are trying to pay their bills or feed their kids and they're following you because they're like, this guy's done it. And they're like, well, maybe I can put an extra 5 on it because I need it. Or, it's like, it's not a good reason, but more than the experience. I get it. She's right. You had the experience with knowing stuff like deflating the ball because you didn't want a bad feedback. But what I took from that is like probably a lot of people that were following that experiment that were just starting, like they were trying to pay bills and trying to do it quick. And that's just not how eBay works,
Yeah, that's not how anything works. Like if you were to get a job and say, I know the pay is $1,000 a week, but if I rush it, can I get paid the same? They're gonna be like, no. Like I know you want to pay me for 5 days of work, but what about I just do 4 hours of work while I'm on my phone? Instead of 40 hours of working for you, how about 4 hours of me on my phone? They're not going to pay you the same rate. It doesn't work that way. You have to put in the full amount of effort to get the amount out. Matt?
So right now you're saying do this all individual,
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to what Isaiah and the initial woman you were talking about, where she was asking, should I do it on my whole store, including my new items or just my older items? I think that's another spot where I get a little bit confused because there's a lot of items like in my store, for example, when I just list stuff now, when I look at my inventory, the SKUs, there's big jumps in the SKUs. So a lot of my new stuff sells, a lot of the older stuff isn't selling. So I think part of it too is, should we really do this on the whole store or should we do it on an item by item basis on stuff that's possibly stale? So run like, let's say like the triple thread of discount, promotions, and a coupon on top of it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a good, okay. And this goes back to what, I can't remember who made this comment earlier today, but the blanket approach is Beth. The blanket approach is not how you do eBay because it doesn't work. You have to individualize how you approach it. So me giving the advice of doing the nuclear method on your whole store is just, it's like a reaction from me to, if you have slow sales and all you want is fast sales. It's not the same thing as learning how to do eBay, which it means every single individual item you got to go in and fix manually. It's just like the easy way where you discount everything and just say everything today is, because essentially what Jen is doing is saying everything today is half off. And that works, but it's not really teaching you how to avoid those mistakes in the future. So Matt, a more tailored version of that would be go back to your oldest item and one by one decide what to discount the item. That would be the way to learn eBay. If you're desperate for sales though, put the whole sale on for 50, put the whole store on 80% off, you'll get sales. That, and to create that cash flow. But I'm also thinking that the person that, like, you just bought something that's worth 100 for 20, right? And you list it for 100. Are you really marking that down 50% like all your aged items? You shouldn't, obviously, but I don't want people to get confused. The individual approach is best. And if you're lazy, you can do a bulk approach and get less results, but you'll get some results and some money in your pocket. So Jen is talking about the phone app. I wouldn't use the phone app for the numbers. In my experience, it has been wrong, even with the sold totals, because it takes time to update. So the data on the eBay app is probably not wrong. It's probably just a different time. Like it might be a few hours ago or yesterday, or maybe it hasn't calculated a return, or there's one thing missing from it. So I would just use the desktop app.
This is different though, Chris. It was 38,749 before I went to bed. I peed at 2 a.m. after it hit midnight, and it was at $33,346. And I just called.
Why would you worry about something that's never wrong? No, never.
I just, right. Well, I called them and they told me never use the phone app for your 90-day totals. It's not accurate. It's full of bugs.
Wait, so if they say it, you listen, but if we say it, you don't listen?
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying we use it all the time to show our benchmarks. I thought I reached my benchmark of 30,000, and now I realize, God, maybe I didn't.
You can, but it's an
dropped
estimate.
too, Jen. Mine dropped like 8,000 too, but on the computer it's still right. So
okay,
sleep over it.
Okay, I did lose sleep over it because I didn't understand. Okay, that's like a huge. They should just take the stupid ass page down if it doesn't work.
Jen, I wish that you could hang out with me for a day and watch all the things that happen that don't bother me. There's like
honestly, I hate being this way, to be honest. Yeah.
I want you to like look at the emails that I get and be like, how are you not worrying about that? I can't do anything about it. You're gonna like it's just definitely don't lose sleep over a mobile app that's updated like randomly throughout the day. There's no way for it to be accurate. How could it be accurate? It's so hard. Elaine, what's up?
Hey everyone. Chris, when you say use price it at the fair market value, are you saying the price that eBay suggests or what it sold for in the last 90 days? Use that pricing?
Because I'm sorry, I'll let you finish.
That was it.
Okay, no, that price in the box, some people don't even have that box, and that estimation is just based on random solds. So it's not a good indicator of the market. It's almost always too low.
Yeah, I noticed that because when I do my pricing, I always go maybe $10 or $15 higher than what they suggest.
So it's almost always too low, and sometimes it's too high. So I would not trust that. And it's the same with the eBay app. The only thing that I feel like is pretty bulletproof, and it still has some flaws, but is eBay shipping. eBay shipping is pretty solid. The other things don't update that quick. Like I can't remember very often where like my shipping page is missing an order. That's like never happened. But have the numbers been wrong? All the time. And sometimes refunds mess up the number. So if like there's a refund in process in queue, that may count towards the number and doesn't count towards the number. So don't worry too much on a day-to-day basis. In Elaine, the fair market value is based on the market, not eBay. So that number, there's no way for them to calculate. They're just guessing, essentially. So it's your job to know they're asking, this eBay price is a little bit wrong. And just using that same system as we were talking about before, which is what is it recently sold for? What's the most it's sold for? What's the least it's sold for? Wait, is Catherine still here? I want to give her one more piece of advice.
Yeah, I'm here.
When you're learning a niche, it's worth your time to look at why that's sold for so much, why it's sold for so low, and why the one you think sold most recently. That would be the teacher equivalent of trying to teach someone why 3 times 4 is 12. Because you can look at the different components. So this one sold for more. Oh, because the Nike sweater is the perfect example. Because a Nike sweater might sell for $1,000 and one might not sell for $10 free shipping. That's why it's so powerful to look and research. Whoa, this one sold because it's an off-white collab. Oh, this one is autographed. Oh, this one is ACG. Oh, this one is Nike sportswear. Oh, this one is just one you buy at Macy's.
But
This one is fake.
The research is what's taking me so much time.
Right.
So
But that's what I'm saying. This is what you do out in the wild when you pick up something. You look at the identifiers on it. So I can also speed this up for you, Catherine, which is there's going to be 10 or 12 item specifics on every single item you find. So when you research one thing like Nike, you now remember that, okay, Nike is better than Merona. So then you remember that. Then you go, okay, ACG sweater worth more than not ACG. Has the ACG logo, worth more. If it has a college team on it, worth more than no college team usually. So you just start remembering item specifics mean more. This is why when somebody picks up something and it's heavy, they're like, oh, this might be worth something. Why do they think that? Because in the past, something heavier has been more well built. There's people who can run their hand down clothing and be like, oh, this is linen, this is viscose, and they know this one might be worth more than the other.
Right.
And Jeannie, we won't go over it today, but Jeannie wants to know how you are doing the research and why it's taking so long. We'll go over that in a different call. But Matt, do you have feedback?
I actually had a separate question. I haven't done the best at tracking my return. I just thought about this yesterday. At tracking my returns, especially the return shipping costs, more for bookkeeping purposes. Is there a spot to find that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So for returns that I've had or cancellations, let's say more for returns, especially the return shipping labels, is there a spot for me to find the amount I've paid out for that?
It's not, I don't know an easy way to do this, but in the transaction record, I wonder if Cheryl's here. She's not here. You can sort by transaction type, and it's a type of refund. So in the all transactions tab, you can search for the return postage paid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll look it up on there. Thank you.
So yeah, there's a way to look at, let's see. I remember when I did the 90-day challenge, I had 2 returns, and those 2 returns, I was able to find the shipping label probably, I want to say 7 weeks after.
Okay.
So you get charged.
I get charged when they ship it.
I think you get charged. I don't think you get charged when they ship actually. I think it's up to several weeks later.
Okay.
You do eventually get charged, but it's not right away.
Okay, cool. I'll look.
Next.
I'll look, and if I find it, I'll post it in the group.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
Next, what's up?
How you doing? So I was in Goodwill the other day. I spent like about an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. And I really didn't pick up anything. And I realized when I was there how little I know compared to how much research doing over time and just, listen to the videos versus being the time in the store. And I also realized that people kind of think of taking it slow as a curse when it's actually a gift at the beginning. Because when I hear like Tech talking about how he starts the day at $3,000 in deficit and stuff like that, like he doesn't have time to slow down and realize, this is the mistake. I need to take a little more hours doing research. I need to spend more hours in the store. So instead of thinking of that time in the beginning as a curse, think of it more as of a gift, because when you start really rolling and doing things you have less time. If you get employees, if you build out, if you start paying more bills, you have less time later on.
I agree with you so much. The post by Jessica on Sunday, when you look at the solds of what people are getting for items, you're like, oh my goodness, I don't pick up that. I don't pick up that. I don't know why this sweater sells for 40 and I can't sell it for 10. And yeah, the part that really illustrated to me that I know nothing was the label discussion. When people talk about labels and they know how old it is, they know what, okay, I think that there's a forum called Style Forum. You guys can go back into it and look at the labels. And there's people that are like, oh, this Gucci is Gucci when Tom Ford worked there. How would you know that? They can tell by the Gucci logo that it's when Tom Ford worked there. That's hardcore. People know so much about all the different niches because there are people that resell and they don't resell unless it's $500 profit or more. There's a site called First Dibs, and like the average sale price on this website is like $20,000. So like there's levels to this. At the super duper duper highest levels, people are maybe making $1,000 profit a sale because they know that maximum super duper niche information that only 10 people know. And that's where, the group really illustrates how little we really know because there's so much information. That's why you have to niche down. See, Sarah says that she went to Gucci to fix her bag and the guy knew what year it came out. I know, they know. People know what year, they know who worked there. It's amazing. So Gucci, when Tom Ford worked there, way more valuable than when he was not the lead designer. Isaiah, what's up?
I'm about to answer whoever that person was question real quick.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. So if you're in your seller hub, like you got to go to seller hub first.